ToMolly.
Welcome to Friends at Gameology, hosted by MoonlightCrew.com.
Reviews for science.
In 7 minutes or less. DC Dice Masters, a 2-player collectible dice building game. Dice building is akin to deck building. Instead of cards, you have the dice, and instead of keeping them in a pile from which you draw as a deck, you put them in a bag, and then when you draw, you shake up the bag, and then draw out the requisite number, which is generally 4 in this game. Then you can roll those. If it comes up on energy faces, you use those to purchase different character dice. Like we got Batman here, a little difficult to see, but that's the bat symbol. Got a little Superman. What's he got? His Superman S. So I'm not sure if you can even see that there, but you got a bunch of cool symbols. You got the Wonder Woman symbol, and that's a character face that has the fielding cost, which you also use energy for, and the attack and the defense. So it makes me think a little bit of Magic the Gathering, in that you start with 20 life, you're trying to defeat your opponent by depleting their life to 0, and you do that through special card effects and attacking. So let's talk simplicity versus complexity.
I think this game is, it's a good mixture of both. It's simple. You put your dice in the bag, you pull out 4, and you roll. Just like Tom said, right here I had 4 energy, so I can buy a shield or a punch character. So I'll buy another Deathstroke, and I put it here, or I put my character there. So it's simple, and then you choose to attack or not. It's a little bit more complex. This is what comes in the rulebook, the player aid that comes in the rulebook.
We copied it. This is directly a copy from the rulebook.
Yeah, the middle of the rulebook. And so I think, and there's just a lot of arrows, a lot of things going on. The dice are moving depending on what happens. So I think it's a little bit complicated in that. And anytime you have lots of card text, like each card, there's 3 different cards. They each have different text, and there's 8 different characters in the starter set.
That's from the starter.
And so there's a little bit more complex because of the text. You have to choose which ones. But once the game gets going, choices are made already, then it's pretty simple.
I feel like it's a pretty simple game. You roll your dice, and if you have energy, you buy something. If you have characters, you field them, and then you attack, or you keep them for defense. It's easy enough to wrap your head around, in my opinion. Let's chat luck versus strategy.
I think this game is pretty lucky. Anytime you have a dice building game, meaning you're going to be rolling these dice, so it is random in what you get. Are you going to get that energy to buy the characters? Are you going to be able to put your characters out and get a card, or none of those things? And so I think it's pretty random. But there is a way that it can be mitigated by the way you set up. I think the starter set is hard to have a strategy with, a long-term strategy. So the more, like you said, it's collectible. The more cards you get, the more dice you get, the more strategy you can have because you have more characters. You can make a full Justice League team that work really well together, or a full villain team that also work really well together, whereas in the starter set you can't. So the more cards you get, again, collectible, you can have a longer-term strategy.
This is a very random game. That is a little bit mitigated in that you get a re-roll. When you pull your dice out and you roll them, you can choose any number of them to roll again, which really helps. The same designers that made this, I believe, are the same that made Quarriors. And you can tell just by how the graphic design of the dice are. I didn't care for Quarriors, but this is head and shoulders above Quarriors when it comes to randomness, because you get that one chance to mitigate any bad luck you could have had, which that just really helps, in my opinion. There's a very impressive amount of strategy, but there's no getting around it. This is a very random, lucky game. However, let's talk fun versus boring. I think this game is super fun. I like the theme a lot. I really enjoy that I'm wearing my favorite shirt. I've got my favorite superhero, which doesn't come in the base set, which is such a bummer to me. But don't worry, if you want to keep playing with more cards, you can buy a gravity feed. You don't have to. You could buy just the individual 2 dice, 2 card packs. We ended up buying 2 gravity feeds. I do not recommend it. One will get you all of these dice. Whoa. So that's a lot of dice. You only need 1. But anyway, this game is super fun. There's so many different choices. There's a lot of cool villains, a lot of cool heroes. And I mean, some of the most powerful people aren't the big ones. Like Superman has really high strength, but his card text just, I don't think even compares to where they did not skimp in the base set with Zatanna Zatara. I think her text is so much better than anyone else's stats. It's insane. I I really enjoy the feel, and I mean, don't the thing is it is collectible. So a lot of people try to justify that, and I'm not going to do that. It's collectible. If you don't like collectible games, this is not your game. But if that doesn't bother you, or if you feel like you can handle the addiction of buying more and more and whatnot, then I say jump in just head first. I really enjoyed this game.
I think this game is super fun. I like that there are lots of female characters. The one thing I don't care for is that the female characters tend to be a lot weaker. And it doesn't make sense for Wonder Woman to be weaker than some of these other characters because she's an Amazon. So this is, but I really, Zatanna Zatara happens to be my favorite and happens to be a woman. So I think it's super fun. BGG rating, I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10. I would normally say 10 out of 10 for gameplay. It's the 8 out of 10 in that I have to like design my deck first, and so like I don't always want to pull it out and do that. I'd rather just have a game I could pull out and play right now. But I do really want to play, so I say 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Once we get to multiples of 500 subscribers, we give away a free glitter painting. And this one fits the theme very well. And Tom's shirt. This one's more glittery. So subscribe because we're going to give it away to our subscribers. One of them.
And it could be you that wins, so subscribe now.
DC Dice Masters. We've presented the evidence.
You be the judge.